This is C. Paul Singh. A very good evening, and thank you all for joining us at this interactive session of NISBAT. As most of you may be aware, we have so far conducted a number of webinars. By now, we have conducted about 129 webinars and a number of interactive sessions. And in an interactive session, normally there's one speaker, and then the session is left open for be understood and understand that when the delegates can ask questions. While I extend warm and hearty welcome to all of you, you might be knowing the learned speaker today is Shri Karnal Singh, who is an ex-executive director ED of the Enforcement Directorate. I'm sure that all of you who have come to join us will benefit by that with the deliberation. A few words about NISBAT. This institute was established in the year 1990, started with training of private security courses, and subsequently we upgraded ourselves to the fire safety courses also. Now NISBAT aspires to become the foremost corporate training institute and a think tank organization in the field of security, safety, and applied management. We have now got 4 wings. First is the NISBAT Forum to organize webinars, seminars, conferences, interactive sessions, debates, declamation, awards, etc. Then is the NISBAT Academy to conduct virtual training programs, assessment, certification, etc. Then NISBAT Enterprise to undertake audits and verifications and have global alliances. We have a plan to establish NISBAT Foundation also to undertake welfare and social work for the society at large, particularly with reference to the security and safety matters. A few words about the chairman of NISBAT. Captain Pavanjit Ahluwalia took voluntary retirement from Parachute Regiment of Indian Army at a very young age, and he joined the business, and it was an unknown area for him, but he has made a great success for himself here. A very warm person. He brings out the best in other people who are with him. He almost seems to have an internal sense to find out a silver lining in a situation. Has the courage of conviction, a thoughtful and inspiring leader. He has created a business group under the name of Ahluwalia Holding Company, which has offices at multiple locations in India and abroad. With the continuous hard work and at times risk-taking attitude, he has grown and evolved himself to achieve a position of prominence in the business world. He is the past president and former chairman of Council of International Investigations, USA, and is an awardee of Malcolm Thompson Award and Cotelia Award by the Council of Investigation, International. Shri Pavanjit Ahluwalia shall moderate this session. I may say a few words and introduce the subjects to the delegates. Cryptocurrency is an outcome of continued scientific efforts to make or to create financial transactions without the intervention of the third party. Third party means banking institutions or financial institutions. It's a direct, without the involvement, without the intervention of the third party. A digital currency which uses blockchain technology to record transactions. This makes cryptocurrency secure, more so because blockchain technology means a digital ledger of transaction which uses cryptography. Since it uses cryptocurrency, the network and the computers which are built in this data, for this data, they're absolutely anonymous to anyone else except the person who invests. In India, cryptocurrency is not presently accepted by the Reserve Bank. A few years back, somewhere I think in 2016, the consideration was given by the RBI, but they imposed a ban on cryptocurrency. In the recent past, a high-level committee has been set up for formulation of regulations on cryptocurrency. According to Reserve Bank of India, though, the flow of cryptocurrency may impose a threat to macroeconomics and financial stability, but probably with the regulatory framework, it will be accepted. It is yet under consideration. There are disadvantages, of course, of using cryptocurrency, as well as there are advantages also. The cost of excessive use of electricity, other resources, fast decline, etc. are some of the disadvantages. The government of India now proposes to pass an enactment with definite rules on the cryptocurrency. There may not be total ban on cryptocurrency, but there are likely to be regulation to create an official digital currency under the overall ken of the RBI. Proposal is probably that a separate agency than the RBI may be set up. Thus, a middle path may be adopted by the government of India. And this middle path would mean the importance of cryptocurrency will be realized, accepted, but it will create certain formulations, certain compliances, which have to be complied with by the users of cryptocurrency. In the recent past, you may have seen some papers have also reported about President Biden's initiative. He is going to sign an order on cryptocurrency shortly. This is being done as a matter of concern, which has been raised about Russia's using cryptocurrency. Russia is using cryptocurrency to evade the impact of sanctions imposed by USA, etc., on the invasion of Ukraine. The US is likely to adopt also a middle path, that is making cryptocurrency legal, but with certain regulations to be complied by the users. It is yet to be seen whether in India, cryptocurrency is ultimately kept under the control of the new regulatory body or RBI or some other compliances are laid down for voluntary adherence. This is yet to be known. Meanwhile, we have a speaker here who was in the enforcement directorate, will know very well as to what can be the complications, what can be problems of having a total cryptocurrency as anonymous sort of currency floating about without any regulations. With these words, I'd like to pass on the session to Mr. Pavanjit Ahluwalia, who will moderate the session henceforth. Thank you very much. Mr. Pavanjit Ahluwalia, please take over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sipal Singh. Firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of participants today from India, UAE, and the Singapore. We are currently streaming live on YouTube and on Zoom. The event today has been sponsored by Premier Consulting and Investigations Private Limited, Premier Shield Private Limited, India Skills, Tag Scores, and JMD Cargo. During the course of the discussions today and the webinar, I request you all to keep yourself muted, switch off your cell phone so that there's no disturbance, and have no side distractions. And if you let your video remain on, that would be the best. We'd like to see you. And if you have any questions to ask, please send me a message on the chat. With this, I would like to take the opportunity of introducing our president, Mr. Sipal Singh. Mr. Sipal Singh is a master's in English literature, and he has served the government of India in very senior police assignments almost all over the country. He was the person who raised the Rapid Action Force and was also its first chief. He also raised the Internal Security Academy at Mount Abu in the state of Rajasthan. During his service, he has been decorated with the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service, the Indian Police Medal for Meritorious Service, the Special Duty Medal with Bar, a Sena Medal, and a number of other commendations and rewards. Post-retirement, he has worked as a consultant with TISCO and was assigned the responsibility to streamline the security and vigilance matters in their coalfield division. He has been the chairman of the Technical Committee of Quality Control of India, which formulated the standards of star rating of private security companies. He was involved with the development of curriculum for private security guards training under the Security Sector and Skill Development Council. He was the head of the committee which designed and worked out national occupation standards for the training of private security guards and the qualification pack and national occupation standards for firefighters. In the year 2009, the President of India awarded him with the Security Personality of the Year award in a glittering ceremony at the Vigyan Bhavan. He is an advisor to the Asian Professional Security Association and the Honorary Director General to the Central Association of Private Security Industry and the Association of Private Detectives and Investigators in India. Mr. Sipal's face is well known in India as a dynamic security professional, and he is frequently called upon to share his views on various subjects connected to homeland security on national news channels. Now it is my distinct privilege to introduce the speaker of the day, Mr. Colonel Singh. The speaker is a graduate in electrical engineering from the Delhi College of Engineering. He is a postgraduate in computer sciences from IIT Kanpur. He is an MBA from FMS in Delhi. He is an LLB from the Salgaonkar Law College of Goa. He holds a diploma in information technology from the Asian School of Cyber Laws in Pune. During his service in the police, he has been the recipient of the Meritorious Police Medal for Meritorious Service and the President's Police Medal for Distinguished Service. He has been an extraordinary sportsperson. He was the best athlete in the National Police Academy and was adjudged the best student of the Delhi College of Engineering, and also the best sportsman and the best athlete in the Delhi College of Engineering when he was there. He's written a book titled The Batla House, an encounter that shook the nation. Some of the major cases that Shri Colonel Singh has supervised. One is the Vijay Mallya case, the Nirav Modi case, when he was posted in the Enforcement Directorate. Around 96, 97, there were a series of blasts, about 42 in all, that rocked Delhi, Haryana, UP, and Punjab. He dedicatedly worked towards the investigation of these cases, analyzed the evidences, and cracked the case. As a result, 22 modules of Lashkar-e-Toiba were arrested from all over India. In 2005, 2 bomb blasts took place in Liberty and Satyam cinemas in Delhi. The cases were solved within a short span of 9 days, with the arrest of the militants of the Babbar Khalsa International. During the process, Jagtar Singh Hawara and Paramjit Singh Bora, who had been involved in the killing of the then Chief Minister of Punjab, Shri Byan Singh, and had escaped from the Burel jail, were also apprehended. The interrogation revealed the identity of the whole gang, and as a result, many Babbar Khalsa terrorists were arrested. In 2005, in Sarojini Nagar, Paharganj, and Govindpuri, Delhi, there were 3 blasts, resulting in the death of 67 persons and injuries to more than 200. The cases were cracked within a short span of time with the arrest of LET militants. Serial blasts took place in Delhi in 2008. There were also a series of explosions in Gujarat, Rajasthan, UP, and Karnataka. The cases were investigated expeditiously, resulting into an encounter with the terrorists of the Indian Mujahideen at Batla House. Subsequently, a number of terrorists were arrested, and hence the book that he wrote. He also handled the investigation of the Upahar tragedy, the fire that broke out in Upahar cinema and that killed 59 persons. He's handled the investigation of the dropsy death cases. He arrested Ramesh Sharma, who was operating in Delhi on behalf of Dawood and Abu Saleh. Bablu Srivastava's gang had identified 7 businessmen of Delhi for kidnapping. The gang was arrested before it could strike. Sher Singh Rana, the main accused in the Phulan Devi case, had escaped from Tihar jail. He escaped to Afghanistan and Bangladesh, but who would visit India for short spans to give interviews to media personnel. He was arrested after his painstaking investigations. As the Joint Commissioner of Police in Delhi, he was able to track down the dreaded criminals, resulting in the neutralization of 49 hardcore criminals and arrest of more than 225 gangsters. His ability on computers led him to computerize the following areas in Delhi police: the crime criminal system, personal information system, the payrolling system of Delhi police, the licensing branch, and quarter allotment systems. He also computerized the recruitment of constables in Delhi police. He established cyber labs in Delhi under the Delhi police. He handled the cyber highway project that connects 241 units of Delhi police and also provides video conferencing facility for them. He introduced technology in the Enforcement Directorate with the establishment of 6 cyber labs across the country. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you a very, very accomplished person, Mr. Karnail Singh.
Thank you very much. I'm really thankful to my senior colleague, Shri C. Pal Singh, who is the president of NISMAT. He gave me an opportunity to speak and to interact with my colleagues from different walks of life. The virtual currency, which is the topic of today, creates 2 narratives in the minds of people and even in the minds of government. The one narrative is that it is a new technology. It is a future of the technology to be introduced. And that is all when we talk of the people who are in favor of Bitcoins or virtual currencies, they talk. On the contrary, the intelligence and investigating agencies, they talk about that it can be a tool in the hands of criminals and terrorists in hiding money, doing the money laundering and terror financing. So we have to see what is it and how it can be regulated or it can be controlled or what problems it creates. If we talk of currency and its timeline, we all know that to begin with, it was a barter system, which was replaced by commodity exchange like gold or salt. Then came the coins currency, the metallic currency. Then came the paper currency like rupees. Thereafter, we have the credit cards, debit cards, plastic currency. We have e-money also. E-money means the internet. We transfer this money. But in all these transactions, the transactions are through the central agencies, except the barter system or commodity system or the cash transactions. In all other cases, when we make transactions, there is a bank, there is a financial institutions, which keeps the ledger. So ledger is centralized. Whether we have money or we do not have money, it is with the bank's record. So bank has to check whether when we are spending the money, even with the plastic money or with the check, they first check whether we have money or not in the bank. And if it has, then they check other things. Proper signature is there, other things are there, and then the money is transferred. So there is a centralized control on these transactions. It is not cash, like if you have a cash with you, you give to somebody immediately. Even if you issue the check, whether check will bounce or check will work, it all depends upon the rules and regulations and that central agency. So in 1980s, the scientists started thinking that is it possible to have financial transactions without the central control of the banks? So they were looking for it. And there were various types of currency games. David Shom's DigiCash, but which failed. Then Y Dice B Money, it also failed. Then Adam Black Hash Cash, it also failed. Then on 31st October 2008, one person known as Nakamoto, who is he? Nobody knows. It is a pseudonym. He wrote an article. And in that article, he brings out how it is possible. And he brought the technology, which is known as a blockchain technology. With the help of that, he said it is possible that there is no centralized control. There is a distributed ledger. That means everybody who is on the net for that particular currency transactions, they can look who is transacting money to whom, who is transferring money to whom. And the question will come later, how do we know this? Who is who? That will be the question. But then the people started working on it. Nakamoto also was helping. And the first Bitcoin came in 2009. This is the first precursor of the cryptocurrency. Thereafter, nobody knows where Nakamoto has gone. Who was he? Whether he was an organization or he was some US scientist group or USSR scientist group. Nobody knows about him. And he never claimed, the person never claimed, though he did such a great work. Now, what is cryptocurrency? And they say that cryptocurrency is backed by the blockchain technology. To understand that, I'll take you to a website. I'll just put it. Are you able to see it?
Yes.
See, the first we have to understand how to calculate the hash. When we say this SHA-256 hash, on the top of it, it is written, it is secure hash algorithm. 256 means whatever is the input, that will be converted into 256 bits. So we have 256 bits, whatever is the input available. So for example, let's take, we can put any input and you see the hash is below. If we write 1, for example, you can see the changing it. The hash below is now, it is starting from A665A. For example, if we put a dot, it becomes A5813AD. So basic idea is if we have a letter, for example, maybe the thousands of words, and we take a hash will be of the same length. But even if we change a comma or full stop, this hash will change. So the concept is we send whatever is our letter, whatever is the text, along with the hash. And if somebody changes anything, let's take, if we say, what are you doing? So we have 3F, 9A, 3C, and somebody put a dot. Hash has changed totally. It is only when dot is not there, hash will come back to the same. So if in a big file, somebody changes comma or full stop, this digest or hash value will change. So that is first we have to understand there are mechanisms to create hash value of anything. And this is very, very useful tool. Now, when we say that it is a blockchain technology, so we have to understand what is a block. Now, block is like we can put a data here. In the center of this, we can put a data. Data could be the transactions. Like, for example, A transferred money to B. C transferred money to C. These are the transactions. Which transactions will be the, when a person is making transactions, they will all be recorded in the data. Generally, what happens is when we are making transactions of 10 minutes are clubbed together. So if all over the world, there are various nodes connected to the internet, which are using the protocol of Bitcoin, for example. Now, when the transactions are there, these are visible to everybody. And on these nodes, they can club these transactions. After clubbing these transactions, what they have to do? Here we record the previous digest. We will calculate the digest. Previous digest or hash value, we record the previous block. We'll see how they are connected. Then we'll calculate the hash of this particular whole block in such a fashion that for each particular cryptocurrency, they will say that we require 4 zeros in the hash value. Initial 4 zeros in the hash value. Or initial 5 zeros in the hash value. Let's, for example, this particular example is for initial 4 zeros. So what they have to do is all these computers will start guessing this number, changing this number so that the hash value which comes of the whole block starts with the 4 zeros. And that process is called mining. So we say the cryptocurrency is mined. Basically, the process is getting the value so that getting this value, which is called non-share, so that the hash value comes with 4 zeros. So if we put mine here, so it will start giving different values. Now on 11,500, this value, there are 4 zeros of the hash value. Now, if somebody changes, for example, A transferred money to D. Now this hash value has changed. It is not 4 zeros. That means if somebody changes in between, the hash value will change and immediately people will recognize somebody has done something wrong with it. Again, the people have to mine it to find out 4 zeros, and this value will change nonce. So this is a basic mining process which takes place. And this mining process becomes more and more complicated as new and new Bitcoins are found. Once somebody is able to find out, suppose thousands of people are trying to mine this value for a particular block. Whosoever does first wins, and he is given an incentive in the form of Bitcoin. And that is process is called mining the Bitcoin. Basically, what you are doing is your various computers are competing to guess this number. And whosoever guesses the number first becomes successful. And as an incentive, he gets a Bitcoin, a new Bitcoin which was not existing previously. That means Bitcoins are increasing with the passage of time. Now, when we talk of Bitcoin, the maximum limit to Bitcoin is 21 million. Today, we have already mined 19 million. In 2140, that means next century, all Bitcoins will be mined. There are other types of the cryptocurrencies. For example, altcoin, there is another type of cryptocurrency. We have more than 10,000 types of cryptocurrencies. Altcoin, they can mine around 85 million. So different types of currencies have different mechanism. Here incentive is you work, your computer will work to find the number. So it is called power of proof of work. Proof of work is that you won. That means you have worked. And when you have worked, you will be given incentive. So in the terminology of cryptocurrency, this work of mining is called proof of work. There could be other mechanism also. The proof of stake means whoever more stake will be given the mined currency. So different types of mechanisms are there, but in Bitcoin, it's a proof of work is the process. And proof of work means you mine, you find out the number which gives the hash value 40. So that is how the blocks are created. Then we talk about what is a blockchain. Now in the blockchain, suppose this is the first block. First block, it's a number which makes it 000, and here may be some transactions here. All transactions, and this is the first block. So previous hash value is null, all zeros. And this hash value is the hash of this particular block. Now, if you change any value in this, for example, 2, 3, 4, if you put, for example, we have to mine it because 40 will be changed. So if anybody comes and make changes in this block, what will happen is subsequent block will show changes. So any change anywhere in the previous block will cause all subsequent blocks to giving the hash which is not 4 zeros. Hash which is not 4 zeros. Now, the hash of this particular block, first block, is put into the hash of previous here in the next block. So these blocks gets connected. First block gets connected to the second block. If you make any change in the first block, its hash changes, and therefore the previous block hash will also change here. And if this block hash changes, then automatically its hash will change. This hash will go to the next block. The hash of this particular block, the second block will go as the hash of previous block. So how they are connected together, and that's why it is called blockchain. So it becomes a blockchain, one block connected with the second block with the help of the hash of the previous block. Now, if anybody wants to make any changes in the previous block, it will disturb everything subsequently. So that is one concept. Now, where is this blockchain kept? You have blockchain of many transactions, but where are they kept? Now, these blockchains are kept in the computers of all the nodes connected to the Bitcoin. Whosoever are dealing in Bitcoins, it is connected to all of them. So that is why it is called distributed ledger. So suppose person A, in his computer, there will be a total blockchain of all the transactions. Peer B will also have the same blockchain. Peer C will also have the same blockchain. All the people, thousands of the people connected to the network, they will have the same blockchain available with them. And that is why it is called distributed blockchain. So everybody will have this record. It is not that I have this record or you have this record or central bank have this record. Everybody has this record. And suppose, for example, now what this person does is, Peer A does is, it changes some record. It changes some record A, transfers to B. Suppose he changes the first record. Now this pink is showing that hash of this is not giving 4 zeros. It is not giving 4 zeros. It is not giving 4 zeros. Everything is disturbed from the that to last. But it will be disturbed only in his ledger. The other ledger will remain intact. So if anybody wants to verify which is the correct transactions, it can check in the distributed ledger with the other computers. So they can find out this peer is doing something else. And it can be reported to everybody that this peer is not correct. So that is the advantage of distributed ledger, that no single person can make any changes. Now here we were just talking up till now about data. What is this data? How is it created? Now let's come to that. There is a concept of token. When person one transfer money to somebody else, he has his wallet. What is wallet is basically, wallet is protected by the private key of person. And what is private key and what is public key? Let me explain you that. See, when suppose you have a lock at your home and you go out, you put a lock, you put lock with the key. When you come back, you open with the same key. It is called symmetric key. That means you close the lock with the same key and you open the lock with the same key. Now what happens is, suppose you have a message and you encrypt it with a key and then you send to your friend. How the friend will decrypt it? He will require the key within. Without key, he cannot decrypt it. So on the way, suppose what somebody does is, man in the middle does it, he changes your message, encrypted it, and also changed the key. So the concept came asymmetric key combination. Private key and public key. If you encrypt something with private key, you can only decrypt it with public key. I keep a private key with me. I write a message. I decrypt it with my private key, and then I put public key and send it to other person. Now nobody on the way can change it because it cannot be encrypted with the public key in the same fashion. If somebody encrypted with public key, it can be decrypted on the private key, which is with me, which is not with other people. So that is the advantage of private key and public key combination, which is called PKI, public key, private key combination. And so this wallet is encrypted with the private key, so nobody can open my wallet. Now from that, I'll send a message that transfer this amount of money. I'm transferring this amount of money to somebody Y. When I'm transferring the money to Y, that message is called transaction. So a transaction is 200 euro from Ali to Oli, 10 euro from Ali to Robin. And then it will be a previous example. In this case, previous is there, which is null because it is a first block, and hash will be created. That is how transactions are put. Now the problem with the wallet with me is it is encrypted with my private key. If I lose my private key, what happens? I lose my wallet. I lose all my cryptocurrency. And there is no mechanism to find it out. Because nobody else can have my private key. And if somebody is able to steal my private key, then again there is a problem. He transfers this and everything goes. So that is the tokens we create. This is called a token. Transactions are called a token, which we put in the previous slides. We were only showing the data, but instead of that data, now we put the transactions. And all those transactions which have taken place in last 10 minutes are clubbed at one place. Whether it is a 1 transaction or 5 transactions or 10 transactions, they will be clubbed at one place. And after clubbing of that, then we'll find out, mine this number, so that hash is found in which first 4 digit is 0. And that is the basic work. And then whatever hash is found, when second block is made, then previous hash is put here, and then new hash is found. That is a process. But question is, who makes this ultimately? Who is authorized out of so many people who are mining, who is authorized to make a block? The person who mines first is authorized to make a block. And when after he completes the block, he sends it to everybody. And then other people verify it. Whether the transactions which have been made, for example, if Oli said, send 10 euro to Robin, whether Oli had 10 euro or not. So what these people will do is, they will check the previous transactions to check whether Oli actually had 10 euro or not. And then they confirm that this particular block has been made, it has been made correctly. So there are people who are working on it, and there's no possibility somebody is trying to play games. And if somebody does it, it will be difficult for him, because all other blocks will change. And anybody can find out this block has been corrupted, this block has been changed. Now I'll show you one more, because here we have not used till now how to encrypt it, the transaction. So I'll show you one presentation. It's a video presentation to make that clear. Now, is it visible?
Yes.
Yes.
So I am just, it will not be my voice, it will be voice of the person who is presenting it. I am just starting the video.
Welcome back. Last time we looked at a blockchain and how it works, particularly in the financial context. And we have these transactions that we were creating that move money from one person to another. But there's a big problem with this, and that is, what's to stop somebody from just adding a transaction that spends all of someone else's money to them? There seems to be no protection here for that. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at ways to add transactions to a blockchain that keep it so not just anyone can create these transactions. In order to do this, we need to look at another cryptographic primitive, and that is public-private key pairs. And then we'll use that for signatures. So let's take a look at that right now. So here's a public-private key pair. The private key here, it's just, it's a really, really long number. And any number is a private key, right? You could make this be 1. 1 is a private key. It's not a very good one. Lots of people have thought of the number 1 before. But you could, you could pick some really, really long number, and it's sort of a random number, and we can use that as a private key. Now you see, every time I'm adding digits here, it's recomputing the public key that relates to that private key. And that's why the stuff down here starts changing. So as the name would imply, this private key is to be kept private. Only you have this private key, and you never tell it to anyone else, okay? And just as the name implies, public key, the public key here, you just tell everyone. This is something that you want everybody to know. This is something that there's no harm in letting everyone know. There is not a way to derive from this public key what the private key is, okay? So it's just a kind of a public version of this private key that does not reveal what the private key is. Okay, so I'm going to hit my little random number generator. So I get a nice, really long private key, and it's not something, where the numbers are close together where I typed on the keyboard. It's something a little bit more random looking. And then the system has derived a public key from this. So this is going to be my private key, and I'm going to use this to do signatures. So let's do that right now. So here's a message signature. So here's a message. I'm going to type, hello, Anders, that's me. And I have my private key here, 656, whatever it is my private key. Only I have that. And here's the message that only I have. And I can hit sign and come up with a message signature here. Now this message signature, I can pass to someone else. I'm going to hit my little verify button. I'm going to pass this message signature to someone else, to anybody else. Okay. Now, of course, they don't have my private key because I keep that private. Nobody else can see that. But I publicize my public key, and they know that everybody knows that this is my public key. So given this message, and everybody knows my public key, and given the signature that I just made, you should be able to verify this. Now, of course, if I hit verify, sure enough, the screen goes green. This is a valid message. And I have verified that whoever signed this message and came up with a signature had access to the private key behind this public key. Okay, and if I have kept that private key secret, that must be me. Okay, so that's a message signature and how you can sign something and verify it. Now, instead of just using this freeform text box, let's put some structure around this. I'm going to make a transaction here instead, right? This is similar to what we saw before. The message I'm going to say is I'm going to send $20 from, this happens to be my public key, to somebody else's public key, whoever this is that I'm sending money to, okay? I, of course, because I'm signing this message, I have my private key. I never tell anybody the private key, but I can use this private key to sign this message, which consists of these three things up here. And if I hit sign, I get a message signature. Great, all right? Now, I send this whole thing out. I send out my message and my signature to somebody else. And they know that I'm trying to send $20 from my public key to this somebody else's public key. You'll notice this little blue box around the from public key. That suggests that you can check this signature against this public key to see whether or not the private key behind this public key actually signed this message. So let's hit verify. Sure enough, it verifies. So I know that the person in possession with the private key behind this public key, must only be Anders, is sending $20 to some other public key. Okay? Now, let's use this in the blockchain. Let's go back to the blockchain case that we were looking at before. Now, you'll notice a couple of different things here, all right? First of all, there's not names here anymore, right? They're just public keys in the from and the to. And you'll also notice that I added a signature section here, okay? So in this case, this is this public key sending $2 to this public key. And here's a message signature that says that it is. Well, what happens if I change this to, $25? Okay, of course, it broke the block, but it also broke the signature. The signature is not verified, and that's why the signature is turning red. So while we could press the little mine button, a miner could take this altered block and remine this block, they're going to end up with something where the block is signed, which should eventually happen. And there we go. And the signature, though, is still invalid because the miner they don't have my private key. They only have my public key, so they can't come up with the right signature. Okay, so that's the way we can make sure that the message, this transaction here, was posed by the person that had the money, and only that person, not just anyone else on the internet. So that's how public-private key pair message signing is used to protect transactions and make sure that they are from the people that they proposed that they're from. Now, if you think about it, it actually works really well, because in order to create a new address, a new public key, the only thing you have to do is go back and come up with a new private key, a new random number. You didn't have to go to a centralized authority to come up with a public-private key pair. You just make up a private key and you use it. You derive the public key from it and you put that out there, and that's how people can pay you. So that's a blockchain. Again, it's a financial context. All successful production blockchains that are distributed use a token of some sort. So they'll have a financial context. So that's how a blockchain will work. I mean, I have glossed over a couple of the details, but for the most part, the overall idea here that you're looking at is very similar to the way that Bitcoin works, and many other cryptocurrencies as well. So that's a blockchain. I hope it's helpful to you. Please leave me some notes down below and let me know what you think of this. And hope to see you next time in the next video.
Sir, I have tried to explain one more thing. It comes out when we say A transferred money to B in the blockchain. Though this distributed blockchain is available to everybody. But who is this A who transferred money to B? It is his public address. And I can create 3 pair of public-private address with B. So I have 3 different wallets. Each wallet will have different public-private key. So nobody will know who am I. And that's a problem area. Unless I go to the exchange and ask this cryptocurrency to be changed to the fiat currency or the currency of a country, my identity will not be known to anybody. And this is the area of concern for the investigating agencies. Now, sir, when we talk of this cryptocurrencies, whether it's a money, it is a currency, or it is not a currency, that is a question raised. Now, if we talk about the fundamental properties of the currency, one is it has a store of value. People can store it, save it. Yes, cryptocurrency can be stored in your wallet, can be there for years together. So it can be stored and it can be used later. So the first property of the crypto, any currency, it satisfies. It is also a unit of account. You can compare the price. It is a medium of exchange. You can purchase things from it. The attributes of money is, one is durable. It doesn't perish. It is a durable. It is portable, can be taken anywhere. It is divisible. Cryptocurrency can be divided into 10 raised to the power minus 8. So one Bitcoin can be divided into 10 raised to the power 8 the parts of the Bitcoins. One unit is interchangeable with another unit, fungible. But problem is, who is responsible for this cryptocurrency creation? Suppose who will pay for it? Like, for example, we have the 10 rupees note or 100 rupees note or 1 rupees note. Except 1 rupees note, in all cases, Governor of the Reserve Bank of India takes the guarantee. In cryptocurrency, who takes the guarantee? Nobody can take the guarantee. Suppose a crypto exchange is started and a new cryptocurrency is started, and then this crypto exchange is closed. What happens to the people who are using that particular cryptocurrency? It has happened. So the question is, the issues have been raised. What are the areas of concerns? That it is not, that is why it is not backed by any country. So it is not a legal tender. And unless it is a legal tender, it cannot be termed as currency. So none of the country in the world has decided it to be a legal tender. So what is it? whether it is, if it is not a legal tender, whether it's an asset, whether it is a commodity. United States of America treats it as a commodity. So it is a crypto asset which can be sold, which can be purchased. It is a non-tangible asset. The next question comes is, should it be regulated or should it not be regulated? Before that, let's find out issues. See, suppose you have a wallet. Where is the wallet located? It is a software. I have my laptop with me. I am sitting in India and I am transferring my money to somebody sitting in Europe. Nobody will know it. It is like Hawala. RBI will never come to know that I have transferred money across the border. So it can lead to the violations of Foreign Exchange Management Act in India. USA does not have foreign exchange laws. Only their condition is you report to the country, but we have foreign exchange laws. So there could be violation, and many countries have foreign exchange laws. So that is the one issue which is raised by Reserve Bank of India. Then, who are the owners of these assets? As we have seen, it is a digital signature. Owner is a digital signature. And one person can have many digital signatures, as he can have many wallets. So we do not know whose digital signature is it. So how to find out whose money is it? The question of verification of the user. Know your client. KYC norms. How to get those KYC norms? That is the second issue. Of course, the exchanges, they say, exchanges which are mushrooming in our country now, they say that any client who is connected with us will be verifiable. And that is absolutely right. That is verifiable, but when he sends the money, he need not send the money through the exchange. Because he comes to the exchange only in case he has to exchange that particular cryptocurrency with the fiat currency. Otherwise, he can transfer directly from one wallet to another wallet. That is so the owner could be a kidnapper, owner could be a Hawala operator, owner could be a terrorist. We do not know who could be the owner. They can be only controlled at the point of exchange of money. When it is exchanged with the real money, only there the people come to know who is this person. So money laundering and terror financing is the second issue, which is the issue with the law enforcing agency. And third issue is how to identify, how to trace. All transactions are available. That is the one good point. But whose transactions? That is not known. So that identity one has to find out, and that identity has to be this public, the address has to be linked to the person. It can be done at the exchange level, crypto exchange level, but then the person has to register. And that could be one solution, that everybody who is allowed to use cryptocurrency, they are registered to one exchange or another exchange in the world. But then there is another problem. If suppose it is some address is registered with the USA exchange, how to get that information from USA? You have to send letter rogatory to that country, and that is again a time-consuming process. So when you talk of the crypto experts, they would say that the ledger is available. So it is very easy to trace people. It is not very easy to trace people. It becomes difficult because the ledger contains the public digital address of the person and not the identity of the person. So with these two issues, RBI issued a circular first in December 2013. And it says no consumer redressal mechanism is available. Suppose you lose your private address, private key. How do you retrieve your money? There is no mechanism to retrieve your money. You cannot make complaint to anybody. It is gone forever. Somebody hacks into your wallet. then again, there is no mechanism to make complaints to anybody. So there is no customer redressal mechanism available as is available in the banks. Now, this virtual currencies, high volatility is there. Scope of illegal activities, as we have talked of money laundering, terror financing, FEMA violations is there. RBI again repeated its circular on 1st February 2017 and 5th December 2017. 6th April 2018, RBI came with the prohibition of dealing in virtual currency. And RBI directed the regulated financial institutions that they are debarred in dealing with VC, the virtual currencies. However, Internet Mobile Association of India, they went to courts against it. And Supreme Court quashed it on the reason of proportionality. Basically, they say RBI is a regulator and not the framer of law. Laws can be framed by the legislature. A committee was made prior to this in the Department of Economic Affairs, headed by the secretary of that department, interministerial group, and they gave the recommendations that the cryptocurrency should be banned in the country. Government is still debating it. And initially, government wanted to bring a bill, but that was not brought. Again, in 2021, government said that cryptocurrency and regulation of official digital currency bill will be introduced. That has not been introduced. There is still debate going on whether it should be regulated or it should not be regulated. Meanwhile, there has been amendment in the Companies Act where the government has said that anybody who is having cryptocurrency within it, he should reflect in its financial statement. So that is how to first getting the stockholder that who are having the cryptocurrency within. This year in the budget, they came out of the transaction tax, or if you gain in the cryptocurrency, 30% tax has been imposed. However, the finance minister said that it does not mean it will be regulated. So we do not know what will be the outcome, whether it will be regulated, whether it will be banned. It appears that it might be regulated because you are bringing certain changes in the systems to know that there is a cryptocurrency transactions are taking place. On 25th February, recently, in a case, of course, it was a case related to bail, but Supreme Court asked the central government to clarify legal status of cryptocurrency in the minds of the government. So the case will come in the March. Let's see what government replies. Now, there have been various cases which have taken place through cryptocurrency. In India, there was a gain Bitcoin scam in Pune. Now, what was this scam is this person says you purchase Bitcoins. Then in each month, I'll give you 10% because I have a big system installed in China, which mines cryptocurrency. And I'll be able to give 10% whatever you purchase every month. That means your money will double in just in 10 months. And then this man vanished with the money of everybody. He was arrested, he died. His associates are now in jail. In America also recently, they were able to unearth, there was a Bitfinex exchange from where one hacker took out $4.4 billion of money, not million, but $1 billion of money. It happened in 2016. They were able to lay hand after 6 years when somebody tried to exchange money and converting into fiat currency. Otherwise, the FBI was not able to detect the case. Recently, somebody was trying to encash that amount through the banking channels. As they were doing it, FBI caught hold of them and seized $3.6 billion recently. It has happened in this year only, in the month of February only. So there are also, when we talk of the crypto exchanges and the experts, they say that it is easily traceable. It is not easily traceable. There are difficulties because people are not aware of these difficulties. They only because of the ledger which is distributed, they say it is easier to detect. It is not. But one more thing we have to understand about cryptocurrencies. Cryptocurrency is based on the blockchain technology. Blockchain technology is actually independent of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency depends on the blockchain technology. And this is a blockchain technology which makes the transactions visible to everybody, which makes the transactions immutable. It means that suppose I have a property and I sell property to A, then I sell property to B. There are court cases. We see these court cases. But if we have all property transactions recorded by using the blockchain technology, then double sale is not possible. You can go back and see everything in this. So the concept is that the blockchain technology can be used in various spheres of life. It can also be used in the supply chain management. For example, you go to the market and you purchase a medicine, whether that medicine is genuine or not. If that medicine has moved from the company which has made it to the shopkeeper, to the chemist, and there is a transactions details available which can be verified through blockchain technology, then it is not possible to sell the spurious drugs. So there are various use of the blockchain technology, and we have to understand when we talk of this cryptocurrency, people, they say no, blockchain technology is only for cryptocurrency. No, it is not. Blockchain technology is a technology which can be deployed in any field where we want that transactions cannot be manipulated. Transactions are immutable. The double transactions are not possible. And the various use of this technology are going to come in future. I'll stop at that, sir. Any question?
Yes, there is one question that what is the cost of cryptocurrency as opposed to the national currency of any country?
Sir, cost of cryptocurrency depends upon the cost of mining. That is one, if we talk of the cost. And the cost of mining keeps increasing. With every Bitcoin mined, the calculations are made more complicated. So one has to invest more computer energy in it, more power in it. As far as the market is available, it depends upon the supply and demand, sir. And because whenever people feel that the cryptocurrency is of the future and some country approves it or starts regulating it, more and more number of people start purchasing it. And it's because the demand increases, its rates increases. But the cost depends upon the mining cost, and that is increasing with day by day, sir.
What would be a typical cost of mining one Bitcoin?
See, it is coming huge now. It's coming huge now. Reason being you have to put large number of computers. Previously, you would be able to do with one computer. Now you have to put a large number of computers together so that you can mine it. I'll not be able to tell you exactly how much is the cost today, but we can find it out.
And let's say you are transferring, in your example, you transferred 10 euros or 20 euros to somebody. Where is your money kept, and how do you know as to how much money do you have in your account?
All money which is in my account is available in ledger only, and my wallet will know it, that how much money I have. It is like cash. What is in my pocket, what is with me is available in my wallet. When I transfer it to somebody, then the whole blockchain is checked to see whether I actually had that money or not. So
and I can buy more money and put it in my wallet?
You cannot. Because even if you say that my wallet has money and you try to transfer the money, it is not possible because the blockchain will tell you this person has no money with it.
How do I add more money into my wallet?
You can purchase it.
and purchases also on the net. I advertise that I want money, and somebody will say,
There are two ways. One, you go to the crypto exchange, give them the fiat currency, the cash or check, and ask them to give you the cryptocurrency. That is one. Second is there are websites like stock exchange websites. Bitcoin also has its own exchange. You can go online and you can purchase.
against
You can purchase.
is the Indian rupee tradable against the Bitcoin?
Absolutely, it is tradable. One currency against another currency is tradable, but when you are purchasing something in Indian currency, for example, how do you pay? You pay it through either the cash system or the banking system, and that is an area where the people are recognized that this person has purchased so much cryptocurrency using this particular check or this particular transaction. So that's the only area where one can be caught.
And do you think the Indian government would recognize cryptocurrency?
It's very difficult to get the mind of the government, because on the one side, RBI and Intelligence Bureau and other agencies of the investigating agencies of the government are saying that it is difficult to trace them. It can lead to the FEMA violations. It can lead to the money laundering or terror financing. On the other side, the people are saying that it is a new technology which is coming. How will you be able to stop it? So the Financial Action Task Force is getting the studies done on it. They are coming out with papers. They have come out with some papers. You can go to the FATF website. There are 2 or 3 papers available in that about what are the guidelines which can be available to various governments. So one has to see whether those guidelines, it is possible to regulate it properly, to find out the know your customers, to find out the beneficial owners. That is the area of concern. And therefore, what is required is, suppose we have all over the world, everybody who is using Bitcoin or cryptocurrency are registered on those exchanges. Then know your customer is satisfied. Only thing is then some law has to come, international law, which says that each transaction, each exchange should be able to give information to the other exchange. And that would be required. If that is possible, then regulation is possible.
So now that the Russian oligarchs' money has been blocked, if they had money in cryptocurrency, they would still be able to use it.
It will not. Nobody will be able to block that money.
So, which means that they would, if they did not have money in bank, but they had it in cryptocurrency,
yes,
then they would still be able to do whatever they wanted to.
They will still be able to do things. You can bypass the government, basically.
One more point to what Pawan has brought out. Now, because of the sanctions which have been imposed on Russia by the Western nations, now there is some talk that the Russians and the Chinese are making a separate financial institution of Bitcoin or something of sort. What happens to the ones which are presently held by these countries? Can they transfer that into the new system, or the new system has to start afresh?
See, what China is doing is, besides the cryptocurrency, they are trying to have the Chinese currency to be used internationally. And they're making a system for it. That is one. However, you are talking about the cryptocurrency which is already available with them. They can transact those cryptocurrencies in the underworld. See, we already have underworld on this. You can go to the deep net, dark web, and the transactions are possible there. So they can do transactions there. They can purchase things using that. That's a possibility.
That's a very major issue, because of this Bitcoin can be, the Chinese have been trying very desperately to make yuan as the international currency. Now, they can sidestep this cryptocurrency into yuan and use it.
See, they can do it, the cryptocurrencies, whatever cryptocurrencies they have, or they can make their own cryptocurrency. Like India is going to make their own digital currency. But that digital currency, then there will be central bank which will be monitoring it of India.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
When we talk of the China, their central bank will be monitoring only their cryptocurrencies, the Chinese digital currencies.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
On your next, ask a question, please.
You telling me, sir?
Yeah, yourself.
Sir, pardon my ignorance. What I could make out from your talk was that every crime that can be done through cryptocurrency can also be done through normal currency.
Absolutely right.
Please correct me if I'm wrong.
Absolutely right. But it is a question of traceability. See, for example.
In fact, sir, my submission is the computer which generated the key can be traced. We have the technology for it through the registry and the IP.
No, the
cash you cannot trace it anyway. So I think cryptocurrency is a lesser evil than the hard currency.
See, the cryptocurrency, you are saying the computer can be traced. No, it cannot be traced. The reason being, it is only the digital signature which is known. See, you work in the Tor, the onion routing system for cryptocurrency. When you are, what is a Tor, you have to understand. See, for example, how do you trace a person? You trace a person using the IP address, Internet Protocol address. Now,
correct.
So I send a message to you. So you read my IP address, you trace me. But suppose this IP address goes to some other anonymizer, which we call anonymizer. They peel off this IP address, they put another IP address on it. So the IP address is of that anonymizer, not of me. Only when you go to that anonymizer, he will tell me, yes, this IP address corresponding is this IP address. Then from here it goes to the second anonymizer. They peel off the first anonymizer and put the another IP address. Tracing becomes difficult in the onion routing. And that's why it is called onion routing. You peel one this, you get another IP address. You peel this, you get another IP address. Yes, please.
So through the IP address, you not only identify the source, but you also identify the instrument which is used, whether it's a computer or a mobile.
See,
am I right, sir?
So this is what
cyber forensics gets it.
That is what I'm telling. The IP address doesn't remain sacrosanct. The reason being, the IP address which is reaching to you is IP address of some anonymizer, not mine. Now to find out IP address, you have to go to that anonymizer that may be suppose in Germany. You go for letter of rogatory, you may take 2 years, 3 years to find that out. Then from there, the second stage will come, the other anonymizer in Russia, third maybe in USA, and there may be 50, 60 anonymizer before my IP address goes to you. So it will be very difficult to trace when you are working in the onion routing system. And that is the reason I told you the transactions which took place where $4.4 billion were taken away in cryptocurrency. The FBI was not able to trace it unless the person made actual transaction with the fiat currency. After 6 years, they were able to trace it. So
sir, imagine the same crime. Imagine the same crime was done through hard cash. It would be impossible to trace it. Here, at least you have a chance of tracing it.
See, when it is given in hard cash,
free cash, too, you can't trace at all.
No, it can be traced because the person who has given in hard cash, he will know to whom he is given. And that is how we catch the kidnappers. When they say give money to a sayer, we catch them subsequently. Because the person who has given them, he sees the faces, there are evidences, there are mobile locations of that person. So there's a possibility when you are giving hard cash, you are leaving the evidences of the person who is taking the money. Here, you don't know who is the person. And that's a problem. No evidences are left. Am I clear?
Yes, the last point is clear, sir.
Okay, thank you.
The first point wasn't there.
Raj was asking. Raj is asking something.
Raj, you have something to ask? Raj, unmute yourself, please.
Is it okay? Am I audible now?
Yes, please.
So, sir, again, pardon my ignorance. I only put this message of IP address on the chat. Is there a possibility of masking the IP address so that it cannot be turned into an onion peel kind of a thing you're talking about? I mean, could there be something? Second was, if I register myself for a cryptocurrency trading, is there a possibility that my identity, which is at the time of registration, could be, I'm talking very basic. Is there a possibility of having that identity sacrosanct throughout my transactions in form of encrypted keys or whatever you want to call it? Just a food for thought which came as a...
See, number one is you are supposed to only download an app in a computer. Now you can download from various places. At that time, your IP address is not recorded anywhere when you're downloading. Now, all other transactions are through your public address system. What is your public address? And it is going to that through the onion routing. See, that you have to understand. You are going through the onion routing, and therefore your IP address, even if it is recorded there, it has no meaning. Because that is not your IP address which is recorded there.
Okay.
So that's a problem. There's a problem of traceability comes because of that. Because if it would have been along with each transaction, there's an IP address attached, then there's no problem in tracing the person.
Obviously.
But that is not the case.
But I'm sure as we grow in this trading, as the world across, grows in this trading, I'm sure there'll be steps which will be incorporated to...
Absolutely. All these crypto exchanges are trying to do that.
Correct.
They're trying to find the solution because the governments will not permit.
Absolutely.
Some governments have started regulating it. It is true. But they are very, like USA started regulating it. Let's see whether we should start regulating or not. This call will be taken by the legislature ultimately.
Absolutely.
In any case, in the UAE, blockchain usage to record property and other transactions has already been initiated. So eventually, I think they will move over to cryptocurrency also once the transactions are all people are using blockchain for them.
Certainly.
That is right. Blockchain will be used in large number of things. Even the smart agreements would be coming.
In fact, in banks also, I think they'll start having distributed ledgers on blockchains, and banking will also become slightly easier.
See, that is a question because that's a problem. The distributed ledger is antithesis to the centralized control. So how they will get together? It is possible. Like I don't say that it is not possible. It depends upon the further development in future.
That is true.
Let's see. Let's move.
Sir, thank you very much for a very illuminating talk. I think everyone must be taking away nuggets of gold from your talk. And now it's time for me to hand the proceedings back to the President.
The time is already short the time for. Like cryptocurrency for some time shall perhaps remain limited only to very technically savvy persons. It is not possible for any non-technical or semi-technical person to get into cryptocurrency. First point is there because it's irrespective of the fact that you have explained, and there are explanations of blockchain, there's explanation of wallet, the explanation of signing method. You know, sir, that when we joined the police, there used to be cipher messages. Cipher messages were that if you put X, it will translate it to XY or ZY. And that cipher language was available with our wireless operator. If some cipher message has to come to you, a secret message, he will give a message taking the cue from that cipher language. So it is something like that language. I mean, although it is a much more complicated because the hash becomes pre, the pre again of that next chain become hash, the hash become pre, and it is a continuous block chain. So it is a little difficult, but once the language is made clear, then probably people will start understand. This is my feel. Now the question is that how, this is very important. What is the problems likely to face, keeping in view the Indian laws, at least that I can say, by the enforcement agencies? It's very, very difficult to reach the ultimate money laundering, and many, many more things can happen. It go to the hands of terrorists, it can go to the hands of drug addicts, it can go to a lot of rackets can come out of that unless we have absolutely streamlined the method of investigation in terms of cryptocurrency. The third is that there is a risk also of significant decline on the cryptocurrency for the person who is putting the money in it. All of a sudden it may cut down and you have lost all the money, irrespective of the fact whether you are trying to gain, but all of a sudden you may lose the money. So there are many risks involved. And I am of the view that as the government of India has now started thinking to have a middle path, that is, it may not be directly controlled by RBI, or it may not pass through all the financial institutions like banking, etc., but some middle path where they may have put some regulation, some compliances to be undertaken by a person who is going into cryptocurrency, it may give. I also in the opening address said that even now, in recent past, the President of America, Biden, has again said, okay, we who have some regulation, as Russia was having no idea what is sanction because Russia was getting cryptocurrency and the sanctions were of no value to him. So there are a lot of problems. I am of the view, sir, that with the passage of time, probably with the passage of time as far as Indian context is concerned, we may be able to evolve something. But initially stages, there's going to be a lot of difficulties, particularly for those people who are not open, who do not want their money to be taxed. If there is absolute taxation, that is all right. But those who don't want their money to be taxed, it will be very difficult for the enforcement agencies to catch them. It was very illuminating talk, I'm sure. The committee is considered, Government of India, about the regulation. I'm sure the committee must be having very competent persons in it. But I am of the view, sir, that the enforcement angle, the problem which you explained, I hope somebody brings it to the notice of the committee, which is formulating as to how should we go about for cryptocurrency in India. With these words, I want to thank you, Shri Karnal Singh ji, again for a very, very illuminating talk, very elaborate talk, and you have made many things clear to many people. At least I am not technical savvy, so I have become clear what is blockchain, what is one-to-one, and how hash is coming pre and pre the hash, and how the wallet is maintained, how signing is very illuminating and very, very knowledgeable talk for all of us. And from my side and from the side of the NISPA and all NISPA team, I thank you very much for having accepted our invitation to come here, sir. Thank you very much. All the delegates, I hope you have learned certain things and we will have to unlearn certain things, because at least I say, unless you are technical savvy, I'll forget about investing in Bitcoin or anything else. It's very, very difficult to understand. With these words, I thank you all for having graced our session, interactive session. Thank you very much. Thank you indeed.
Would you put on the next?
Please give me the next, yes, banner. Now this is our next interactive session is going to be very important one again from the current topical discussion which are going on all over the country and everywhere, that China's border laws and impact on India. This is, you must know that China's border laws have got great impact for India in terms of certain areas of Arunachal Pradesh. So this subject will be discussed by a reputed journal, and registration is complimentary. It is due on 25th March, 6 to 7 p.m. Please block your slots and do join this, because it's going to be a very interesting subject, and we must know what is the impact likely to be on India of the China's border laws which they have passed recently. With these words, I want to conclude the session. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Colonel Singh, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Sipal, sir. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Rai. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so kind of you. Thank you.
My Raj, yeah.
Bye, sir. Take care. Thank you.